Lieutenant Ethan Cole was an engineer from Earth assigned to the Galactic Academy of Navarra. The academy floated between crystal towers on a silver planet filled with strange lights and sounds. Students came from 100 different worlds, some scaled, some winged, some glowing like living stars. Ethan was one of only 3 humans there and by far the quietest. He lived in a small dorm near the mechanical hangar. Every day he spent hours fixing drones, repairing plasma engines, or studying the alien designs that confused most humans. The others called him the Machine Whisperer. He didn't mind. Machines made sense. People did not. One bright morning, he was working in the training drone bay. The air smelled of metal and ozone, and the hum of generators echoed like a heartbeat. Ethan sat cross-legged on the floor beside a half-open drone, tools scattered around him. His dark hair fell over his eyes as he soldered a power node by hand, something the aliens found strange since they used mind-link tools instead of touch. Human. A soft voice called behind him. "You still use your hands for that?" He turned and froze. Standing in the doorway was Princess Lyra Valari, the daughter of the High King himself. She was tall and graceful, her skin a pale silver that shimmered under the lights. Her long hair glowed softly, changing color with her emotions. Blue for calm, violet for thought, gold for curiosity. Now it was faintly green, meaning mild amusement. Ethan quickly stood up and brushed off his uniform. "Your Highness," he said awkwardly. "I didn't realize anyone else would be here." She stepped closer, eyes bright. "You are the human engineer? The one who fixed the simulator that even our scientists couldn't restore?" He nodded. "Just got lucky, I guess." Lyra tilted her head. "Luck does not weld circuits, Lieutenant Cole. Skill does." Her voice was melodic, almost like a song. Ethan tried to look away, focusing on the drone, but curiosity made him glance back. Her eyes were strange, like liquid silver reflecting the world around her. For a moment, he forgot where he was. Lyra crouched beside the drone, her movements elegant and slow. "Humans are interesting," she said. "You build things with emotion. You frown at them, you talk to them. Machines here do not answer emotion, yet yours obey." Ethan smiled slightly. "Machines are like people," he said. "If you listen long enough, they tell you what's wrong." Lyra's hair flickered golden again. "You listen to machines?" And sometimes, he admitted, they listen back. She gave a soft laugh, light and musical. "That is oddly charming." The words caught him off guard. She was close now, close enough for him to notice the faint shimmer of patterns across her neck, like living tattoos that shifted with light. His heart beat faster for no logical reason. She leaned forward to see the control board he was fixing, and her hair brushed his shoulder like cool silk. Without thinking, he whispered, "You're gorgeous." The word slipped out before he could stop it. He froze instantly, realizing what he had just said. To a royal alien princess in a workshop full of listening drones and open sensors. Lyra blinked. For a second, her hair turned completely pink, the Valari color of shock. Then deeper pink, the color of embarrassment. The glowing lights along the wall flickered as the sensors picked up her emotional surge. Ethan stepped back, hands raised. I didn't mean, it just came out." She stared at him, her eyes wide. Around them, a few other students had turned toward the commotion. A reptilian cadet whispered, "Did the human just compliment the princess?" Ethan wanted to disappear. "I'm sorry, Your Highness. That was inappropriate." But before he could finish, Lyra spoke, her voice soft and trembling. "Say it again." "Human." The workshop went completely silent. Even the drones seemed to pause mid-hover. Ethan thought he had misheard. "Excuse me?" She stood up slowly, her face glowing a warm pink gold. "You called me gorgeous. On Valari worlds, no one uses that word. We have terms for beauty, rank, or symmetry, but not for feeling." Her gaze locked with his. "Say it again, please." Every pair of eyes in the room turned to them. Ethan's throat was dry. His mind screamed, "Don't do it," but something about her tone, half wonder, half challenge, made him speak again. "You're gorgeous," he said quietly. Lyra inhaled sharply. Her hair burst into radiant gold for a heartbeat before fading to pale silver again. Then she smiled, a real small smile. "Thank you, human." The other students began whispering furiously. Some looked offended. Others were simply curious. No one had ever seen the princess respond that way. Lyra turned away and walked out of the workshop, her steps light and soundless. But just before the doors closed, she looked back and said, We will speak again. Ethan exhaled only after she was gone. The reptilian cadet muttered, "You just doomed yourself, human." He sat back down beside the drone, hands shaking. "Yeah," he whispered. "I probably did." That night, the incident spread through the entire academy. Some thought the human had insulted the royal family. Others thought he had used forbidden speech magic. The truth was simpler. Ethan Cole had said what he honestly felt, and the princess had not been angry. Inside the royal chambers, Lyra sat before her mirror, touching her glowing hair with confusion. No one had ever described her in human words before. "Gorgeous," she whispered to herself, testing the sound. It was softer than the formal Vailari compliments. It felt personal, alive. She didn't understand why it made her heart race. Her attendant asked quietly, "Princess, should we report the human's behavior?" Lyra hesitated. Then she shook her head. "No, he did not insult me. He gave me something I have never heard before." The attendant bowed but looked uneasy. "Your Highness, the council will not approve of such interaction." "I will handle the council," she said calmly. Yet her hair betrayed her emotions, blending pink, gold, and violet all at once. The next morning, Ethan was called to the command hall. He walked through the crystal corridors with a sense of dread. The walls were alive with light, carrying messages across the academy. When he entered the chamber, a group of senior instructors waited for him. 3 Vailari elders and 1 human ambassador. "Lieutenant Cole," one elder said in a cold tone, "we heard a troubling report. You addressed Princess Lyra Vailari with human affection?" Ethan stood straight. "It was a mistake, sir. I meant no disrespect." The elder's glowing eyes narrowed. "The word you used, gorgeous, it carries emotion, yes?" "Yes, sir." "Then you will refrain from using such words with royal blood. The Vailari are not accustomed to emotional speech." Ethan nodded quickly. "Understood." The meeting ended. But as he turned to leave, the human ambassador whispered, "You might have started something, Cole. Be careful." Ethan didn't understand what that meant until later that evening. He was working alone again in the drone bay when the door opened quietly. Lyra stepped inside, dressed in a soft silver robe that shimmered like starlight. Her hair was pale blue, calm but curious. "Your Highness," he said, startled. "You shouldn't be here." "I was warned already." "I know," she interrupted. "They spoke to me too. But I wish to see the human who uses emotion to fix machines." He sighed. "I didn't mean to cause problems." Lyra moved closer, studying his face. "You said what you felt. On my world, we are trained to hide feeling behind control. But your word, gorgeous, it carried warmth. It made me feel alive." He didn't know how to answer. "It's just a word," he said quietly. "Not for me," she replied. "It was the first time anyone saw me as something other than a title." Her sincerity disarmed him. For the first time, Ethan noticed that despite her royal grace, her eyes carried loneliness. "Being royalty isn't easy, huh?" he asked gently. Lyra smiled faintly. "It is like being a statue in a museum. Everyone looks, no one speaks honestly." He nodded. "Back on Earth, we say that even statues deserve to be seen as real." Lyra's hair flickered gold again. "Then you truly see me?" Ethan hesitated, then said softly, "I think I do." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The drones hummed quietly, reflecting the glow from her hair. Finally, Lyra said, "Tomorrow there is a cultural exchange in the Great Hall. Will you attend?" "I wasn't invited," he said. "You are now," she replied with a small smile. "And if they ask why, tell them the princess requested it." Then she turned and walked away, her hair fading to silver once more. Ethan stood there long after she left, unsure what had just begun between them. He looked at the half-fixed drone, the same one that had started it all, and whispered, "I hope this doesn't end badly." The drone blinked its sensor light once, as if agreeing. Outside, the alien sky glowed with twin moons. Somewhere far above, the royal palace shimmered like crystal fire. Inside, a young princess repeated a forbidden human word to herself. "Gorgeous," and she smiled. The next morning came bright and silent. The 2 suns of Envara cast soft silver light over the academy towers. Lieutenant Ethan Cole woke early as usual, his mind still restless from the night before. He had tried to convince himself that his meeting with Princess Lyra meant nothing, but her voice kept echoing in his thoughts. "Then you truly see me?" He sighed and rubbed his eyes. "You're in trouble, Cole," he muttered. By the time he reached the mechanical bay, the corridors were already buzzing. Word had spread again. Every alien student whispered when he passed. Some nodded politely, others stared coldly. He could almost hear them thinking, the human who spoke to the princess. He ignored them and began working on an atmospheric shuttle that needed recalibration. The familiar smell of metal and heat helped him calm down. Machines never gossiped. Machines didn't care about rumors, but peace didn't last long. Human, that soft voice again. Ethan turned around and almost dropped his tool. Princess Lyra stood at the doorway, dressed in a formal academy robe of shimmering white fabric. Her hair was glowing gently gold, curiosity mixed with excitement. "Your Highness," Ethan said quickly, "you shouldn't be here again. People are already talking." "I know," she said, stepping closer, "but I invited you to the cultural exchange today." "Did you forget?" He blinked. "I thought you were joking." Lyra smiled faintly. "Valerie do not joke often." Ethan hesitated. "Princess, if your father or the council finds out, I could be removed from this post." Her expression softened. "Then stand beside me and let them see what truth looks like." Before he could answer, she gently took his hand. Her skin felt cool, almost like soft glass, and her glow brightened slightly at the contact. "Come," she said. "You fixed our machines. Now fix something harder, their opinions." The great hall was massive, a cathedral made of light and crystal. Alien banners floated like mist across the air. Hundreds of beings filled the chamber, each representing a different world of the Galactic Union. Music without instruments hummed through the air, created by energy waves. When Lyra entered with Ethan walking beside her, the noise died instantly. Dozens of heads turned. Conversations stopped. Even the air seemed to freeze. Ethan swallowed hard. "This was a bad idea," Lyra whispered back. "No, it is the first honest one." The Valari Council sat in a circle near the stage. Among them was her father, the High King, a tall figure with white silver armor and eyes that glowed like moons. His expression darkened as he saw his daughter arrive with a human. Lyra bowed formally. "Father, I have brought an honored guest from Earth." The king's voice was calm but sharp. "A human engineer?" "Yes," she replied, steady. "The one who repaired our neural drones and saved many cadets during last month's malfunction. His name is Lieutenant Ethan Cole." The king looked at Ethan, who stood frozen. "You are the one they call the Machine Whisperer?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Ethan said carefully. "I just do my job." The hall remained silent. The king's tone grew colder. "And what is your job today, human?" "To escort my daughter?" Lyra stepped forward before Ethan could speak. "He is my guest. He deserves respect," the crowd murmured. It was rare, almost unthinkable, for a Valari princess to defend a human, especially in front of the council. Ethan whispered, "Princess, maybe I should leave." But Lyra turned to him and said softly, "You called me gorgeous when no one else dared to see me as more than a title. You will not hide from truth now." Those words, said in front of everyone, sent another ripple of shock through the hall. The king's voice thundered, "Enough, you embarrass your lineage." Lyra stood her ground. "I speak only what I feel." Ethan stared at her in disbelief. The courage in her tone reminded him of old Earth stories, knights defying kings for what was right. Only this time it was a glowing alien princess standing up for him. After the ceremony ended, tension filled the air. Guards and nobles whispered urgently to the king. Ethan stood quietly at the edge of the hall, unsure whether to run or wait. Lyra approached him again, her hair flickering nervously between colors. "I am sorry," she said quietly. "I did not mean to cause you more trouble." Ethan shook his head. "You didn't cause trouble. You just spoke your mind. That takes courage." She looked down. "On my world, emotion is weakness, but your people use it as strength. You speak your hearts even when it burns." He smiled a little. "That's because sometimes it's the only thing that keeps us human." Lyra studied his face, her eyes full of wonder. Maybe that is why humans are feared and admired. Before he could reply, an alarm echoed through the hall in a deep metallic tone. The lights dimmed. Guard shouted orders. "Energy breach," someone yelled. "Containment field failing in the east reactor." Lyra turned to Ethan immediately. "That's near the main hangar." Ethan was already running. "I can fix it." She followed without hesitation, ignoring the protests of her guards. They sprinted through the corridors as red lights flashed above. The sound of cracking energy filled the air like thunder. When they reached the hangar, a shockwave burst through the doorway, knocking them both to the ground. Ethan got up, coughing, and saw the problem. A reactor conduit had fractured, spilling unstable plasma energy. One wrong move and the whole tower could explode. Lyra shielded her face. "We must evacuate." "Not yet," Ethan shouted over the noise. "If that reactor blows, it'll take half the city with it." He ran to the control board, his fingers moving fast. Sparks burned his sleeves, but he didn't stop. The alien tech wasn't meant for human hands, yet somehow he understood it. Felt it, like a rhythm in his head. Lyra watched in shock. "You are touching the core directly." "I told you," he said through gritted teeth. "Machines listen if you talk to them right." The plasma's color changed from violent red to calmer blue, but the main stabilizer refused to engage. Ethan glanced at the central energy valve, a heavy cylinder of rotating crystals. "I need to realign that manually. You will die if it ruptures," she cried. He smiled faintly. "Let's hope it doesn't." He grabbed a metal rod and forced the valve into place. The ground shook violently. For a moment, Lyra thought he had been vaporized. Then the light steadied. The reactor hummed softly, stable again. The alarm stopped. Lyra ran to him as he slumped to the floor, breathing hard but alive. "You're insane," she whispered. He grinned weakly. "Maybe, but it worked." Her hair glowed a warm gold, the color of relief and admiration. She knelt beside him, placing her hand on his shoulder. "You saved us," he shrugged. "Guess we're even now." She looked at him for a long moment. "You risked your life for people who doubted you." "Why?" He thought for a second before replying. "Because that's what humans do. We break rules, we fix what's broken, and we don't quit, even when everyone says we should." Lyra's eyes softened. "No wonder your kind is called unpredictable," he chuckled. "We prefer stubborn." Later that night, the academy glowed again under calm light. The damage was contained and news spread quickly. Everyone now knew that the human engineer had saved the entire facility. Even the High King could not ignore it. He summoned Lyra to his private chamber. The hall was vast and cold, the walls covered with glowing patterns of ancient Valeri script. "You disobeyed my command," the king said slowly. "You risked your life following that human." Lyra bowed respectfully. "He risked his life for your people. For all of us," the king's voice grew harder. "You defend him too easily. He is emotional, reckless, bound by impulse. Maybe that is what we lack," she replied softly. "Emotion, impulse, the courage to feel." Her father looked at her for a long time. Finally, he sighed. "You are your mother's daughter." Lyra left the chamber in silence. Outside, she found Ethan waiting near the academy gardens, standing beneath glowing crystal trees. When she approached, he turned and smiled. "You survived your father's lecture?" She nodded. "Barely. He says humans are reckless." He laughed quietly. He's not wrong. For a moment, they stood in peaceful silence. The alien sky shimmered with 2 moons, and small glowing birds floated between the trees like living sparks. Lyra looked at him and asked, "Will you return to Earth after this?" Ethan shrugged. "Maybe. Depends if I get fired or promoted first." Lyra smiled. "If I have a say, it will be neither." He raised an eyebrow. "Then what?" She stepped closer, her silver eyes reflecting the moons. "You will stay, at least until I understand what humans mean when they say such strange words." He smiled back. "Which word are you still trying to understand?" Lyra's hair glowed softly pink gold. "Gorgeous," Ethan chuckled, shaking his head. "You're learning fast." She tilted her head. "Then teach me properly, human." And for the first time since coming to this distant world, Ethan felt truly at home. The morning after the reactor incident, the academy was alive with whispers. Ethan walked through the corridors carefully, noticing that every alien student turned to watch him pass. Some were curious, some suspicious, and a few even envious. Yet he kept his head down, carrying his toolkit like a shield. Princess Lyra was waiting for him at the entrance to the workshop. Her hair glowed faintly gold, signaling calm and curiosity. "Good morning, human," she said softly. "I trust you slept well after your heroics yesterday?" Ethan gave a small laugh. "Not much sleep. Too many eyes on me, and I'm still trying to figure out why everyone expects me to do everything perfectly." Lyra tilted her head, her eyes shimmering with faint violet. "Perfection is rare. Courage is rarer," he frowned. "I was just fixing what broke." Her smile was soft but steady. Then you are braver than most. Ethan looked down, feeling the weight of her praise. It was strange for a human to receive such acknowledgement from alien royalty. Still, her words warmed something inside him, a strange mix of pride and caution. Are you coming to the council meeting today? She asked suddenly. He hesitated. I wasn't invited. Her smile widened. Then consider this an invitation. I will explain it as a study in human courage. Ethan shook his head. I'm not sure that's wise. You will be safe with me, she said confidently. Besides, they need to see the human they almost lost yesterday. The council chamber was tense. The High King, still glowing faintly with disapproval, watched from his elevated seat. Representatives from dozens of worlds filled the grand hall, waiting for the ceremony of recognition. When Lyra entered with Ethan, a hush fell. The rumors about his actions had already traveled faster than light through the academy. The king's voice was cold but steady. You are certain this human should be present? Lyra nodded. He is not merely a guest. He is a witness to what courage looks like. Ethan swallowed. He wasn't sure if he was ready for this. Many of the representatives leaned forward, eyes wide. Some whispered. Humans rarely made it into formal galactic proceedings, let alone beside royalty. A Velari elder's voice rang out. It is highly unusual. Protocol is not intended for this level of human involvement. Lyra straightened, her hair flickering gold and silver. Then we shall make it a new protocol. One that acknowledges bravery, skill, and honesty, qualities even humans possess. The hall went silent. The High King blinked and the representatives exchanged confused glances. Ethan had no idea whether he should feel honored or terrified. After a tense pause, a loud alarm suddenly echoed throughout the hall. Red lights flashed. Energy surges rattled the structure. The Eastern reactor, shouted one officer. Containment is failing again. Ethan reacted instantly. I'll go. Lyra's eyes widened. No, you need to. I have to, he interrupted. I know how to fix it. She bit her lip but did not stop him. Then I am coming with you, she said firmly. Together they sprinted through the glowing corridors. Sparks flew from broken conduits and the hum of unstable energy was deafening. By the time they reached the hangar, flames and plasma arcs danced dangerously across the floor. The reactor was unstable and pulsing unpredictably. Ethan studied the device quickly. The main valve had shifted, a fracture forming along a critical seam. One wrong move could detonate the reactor, taking the hangar and possibly part of the academy with it. Step back, he ordered. I can manage. Lyra didn't move. I'm not leaving, he shook his head. Princess, it's too dangerous. You've risked yourself already. I will not let you do this alone. Ethan gritted his teeth. Then stay behind my shield. Watch the core's reactions. Guide me. For the next hour, they worked together. Ethan directed the energy flow, guiding the plasma along safe paths while Lyra monitored the stabilization indicators. Sparks flew. The floor shook. Both knew any mistake could be fatal. Finally, with a final adjustment to the valve and a careful recalibration of the stabilizers, the reactor's hum shifted from chaotic red to calm blue. The danger had passed. They both exhaled, leaning against a wall as their adrenaline faded. Lyra's hair glowed softly, warm pink gold signaling relief. You did it, she said. Ethan shrugged, wiping sweat from his forehead. We did it. You were a big help. I only guided, she replied. You acted. Humans always act, he gave a small smile. It's what we do best. News of the incident spread instantly. By the time they returned to the council hall, every representative knew what had happened. Ethan's bravery, combined with his calm under pressure, earned whispers of admiration and disbelief. The High King, still a figure of stern authority, regarded his daughter with a mixture of surprise and resignation. You have defended your choice, Lyra, he said, and your guest has proven his value. Lyra bowed. Yes, father. Courage has no species. Truth has no boundaries. The king's glow softened slightly. Perhaps your human has taught you a lesson, one we did not expect. Later that evening, Ethan repaired drones and shuttles in the bay while Lyra observed quietly, sitting on a nearby bench. The room was dim except for the faint glow of machines. You have a way with machines, she said. Even when they were failing, they obeyed you. Ethan chuckled. Maybe they like humans. Or maybe they just like honesty. Lyra leaned closer. Do you think humans are the only species that can act with pure honesty? He thought for a moment. I don't know. But humans can act even when fear tells them not to. Maybe that is enough. She studied him carefully, her hair glowing golden. Then perhaps we have something to learn from each other. Ethan looked up, surprised. From me? Yes, she said softly. From the human who called me gorgeous without thinking, and who did not run away when things became dangerous. He felt a warmth spread through his chest. He had risked his life for a reactor, and now the princess of an alien world spoke to him as if he were an equal. For a human who had felt invisible among alien technology and etiquette, this was more than he could have imagined. Over the next few weeks, Ethan and Lyra grew closer. They studied together, repaired machines together, and even navigated the delicate political landscape of the academy as a team. Everywhere they went, whispers followed them, but neither seemed to care. The princess began to smile more freely around him, her hair glowing gold when she laughed. Ethan found himself speaking more openly, explaining human humor, telling stories of Earth, and sometimes sharing small jokes. It was a strange and wonderful exchange, two species bridging a gap through honesty and bravery. One evening, under the light of twin moons in the academy garden, Lyra turned to him, her eyes reflecting the stars. You called me gorgeous, she said, her voice soft and full of curiosity. Do you mean it? Ethan nodded. I mean it. I don't say it lightly. She smiled, her hair flickering gently. Then I will remember it always. He felt a surge of hope. Do you like humans? Lyra considered the question. I like honesty, courage, and action. And you, Ethan, have all three. For a long moment, they simply looked at each other, the garden alive with soft alien lights and the quiet hum of distant machines. The danger, the politics, and the expectations of two worlds seemed far away. You have taught me something important, she said finally. That words matter. That courage matters. That one human can make a difference, Ethan smiled. And you've taught me something too. Lyra tilted her head. What? That even royalty can be real, he said softly, and not just a title. Her hair glowed a bright gold pink. Then you truly see me. I do, he said, and I always will. The garden was quiet except for the soft hum of machines and the distant glow of the academy. Under alien stars, a human and an alien princess stood together, connected not by duty or blood or species, but by honesty, courage, and a single word, gorgeous. And in that moment, the galaxy felt just a little smaller, a little warmer, and a little more full of possibilities.